Hi everyone, this is Professor Rajesh from Cambridge Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Today I'll be discussing about pointers. These are the following topics which I'll be covering in today's session. That is for pointers and function, pointers and structure, pointers to array, pointers to character array. The first two topic, pointers and functions, pointers and structure, has been already covered in the previous session. Let me give you a small glance about this particular topic. Coming to pointers and functions, how do we use pointers inside a function is the talk. Now here this program is about swapping of two numbers with the help of pointers. We have declared a function called as swap, void swap, with two parameters or an arguments. X and Y are the parameters which we are passing, and these are of the type pointers. And we start the program by from void main. When the program gets executed, you can see that A and B are the two variables which has been declared inside the main function, and the user has been asked to enter two values. When the user is asked to enter into the two values, whatever value the user enter, two values, the first value will be stored in the variable A and the second value will be stored in the variable B. For assumption, I have taken A value as 3 and B value as 6 I have taken over here. Now here I am just representing the address of the variable A. This address will be allocated by the compiler, and B's address has been assigned by the compiler. Randomly I have taken the address as 1000 and 2000. When I'm calling the function, when I'm calling the swap function, I'm passing the two values. That is, I'm passing the address of A and I'm passing the address of B. That is, address of A is 1000, we know. Address of B is 2000, we know. We are passing the address. Next, when I'm calling this function, the control will be transferred from here to this. That is, X is a pointer over here, which is storing the address of A, and Y is a pointer which is holding the address of, that is, the B variable. Now here what we do, we are writing the swap function. In order to swap two values, two variables, we are using a temporary variable T. Now T is equals to star of X. We know why do we use a special operator star of X, in order to fetch the value present in this particular location. For example, X address is 1000. Star of X in the sense the value present at the location 1000. What is the value present at the location 1000? What is the value present at the location 1000? Is 3. 3 is fetched. 3 is stored in the variable T. So first what we'll do is 3 is fetched and stored in the variable T. Next, what we are doing is star of X is equal to star of Y, means in the address of Y, what is the address of Y? 2000. What is the value present in the address of Y? 6. 6 will be fetched and it will be stored at the location star of X. What is the address pointing to? X is 1000. 1000 is the address. Star of X in this is 3. That is, the value of the 6 will be stored at the location 3. I mean, 6 will override the value present in the variable A. So you can observe here 6 is stored in the address, that is which has been pointed by X. Now X address is 1000. Star of 1000 means I'm accessing this particular location. Now the value of 6 is been updated over here. You can observe here the value of 6 is been updated. Next, star of Y is equals to T. What is T value? We know T value is 3. 3 is stored at this particular location. The location here is star of Y in the sense Y address, the address of Y is 2000. Star of Y means I'm accessing this particular location. Now when I'm accessing this particular location, the value of 3 is stored in this particular location. What is the location? 2000. So you can observe that the B value gets updated to 3. After B value get updating to 3, I'm just writing printf inside the swap function. I'm just printing the value of A and B. When I'm printing the value of A and B, I'm using star of X and star of Y, because if I use only X, I'll be printing the address. If I use only Y, I'll be printing the address. Star of X in the meaning of star of X in the sense, in this particular address, what is the value? Fetch that particular value. What is the value at the address 1000? We know that the updated value is 6. So 6 which will be fetched and printed on the monitor screen. Star of Y, the Y's address is 2000. Star of 2000 in the sense, in this particular address what value is stored? In this particular address what value is stored? 3 is stored. So 3 will be displayed on the monitor screen. This is this is how we have to relate pointers and functions. So going with the next talk, This is also been discussed already, pointers and structures. Now, how do these pointers and structures comes together? We'll just check it out. Now, we have defined a structure called as employee, which has got three fields: name field, city field, and pin field. As we know, when we define the, this is just a skeletal structure or a blueprint of the user defined data type. The user defined data type here is struct employee. Now, below this, after defining the structure, we are writing a function called as void display. This particular function has got only one parameter, that is e is a pointer variable of the type struct employee. We are using a pointer variable. Pointer is e is a pointer variable of the type struct employee. You can see we have put the star, which implements it's a pointer. Okay, now the execution of the program starts with void main, and as soon as we start executing the program, we will create a variable for the struct employee. Now, when we create the variable struct e, memory gets allocated for e. E is a variable where the memory gets allocated. E is a variable which will be having three fields: name field, city field, and pin field. And we have just taken the address over here. Randomly, we have written the address as 1002. So next thing is you will be asked to enter the name, city, and the pin of the employee. Now, in order to store the name, city, and pin of the employee, we'll be using a scanf statement. And in order to store the value, we'll be using a variable name dot the field name or the member name, e dot name to store the value in the field name, e dot city to store the value in the city field, e dot pin to store the value in the pin field, which has been already discussed. Once after storing the value, for assumption, I've stored Anil, Bangalore, and I've taken the pin code number like this. Now what we do is we are calling the function, we are calling the display function by passing this variable. This is a variable, this is a normal variable. When I write ampersand of e means I'm passing the address of e. When I'm passing the address of e, ptr is a pointer which is having the address 1002. This is a pointer which is pointing to this particular address. Now, with the help of this pointer, if I want to access Anil, Bangalore, and this pin code, how do I access this? That can be accessed something like this, where I'll just print details, and I have to print the name, city, and pin code. So I've used a format specifier as %s, and %d. When I'm using a pointer to access the member of the structure, I'll be using the arrow operator. Instead of a dot operator, we are using an arrow operator. So ptr is a pointer, arrow operator name. So it will fetch the name which has been present inside this variable. Again, arrow operator, when I use, city will be fetched. If I use an arrow operator, again, we'll be fetching the pin code number. This is how we fetch the value which is present in the variable e by using the arrow operator with the help of pointer. So the output will be Anil, Bangalore, and 560016. This is about pointers and structures. Now coming to the next topic, this is the next topic, where pointers to pointers. As we already know that pointers are used to store the address of a particular variable. Now, for assumption taken, if there are two pointers, and the first pointer is storing the address of a particular variable, second pointer is holding the address of the first pointer, then this is called as pointers to pointers, we call it as, or we call it as double pointers. I will repeat it once again. Assume that there are two pointers. First pointer is storing the address of a variable. Second pointer is storing the address of the first pointer. This is called as pointers to pointers, or we call it as double pointers. Now, syntax, let us see the syntax. In order to represent a second pointer, we'll write the data type name, space, star ptr. Now here two stars, two asterisks, two stars we have used. This indicates that it is the second pointer over here. This is just a syntax for this. Now coming to the execution of the program, let us see the program with an explanation. A header file we have written, void main. Now what I've done here is I've declared a variable. I've declared and initialized a variable. Now num is a variable which has been holding the value 123 and which is of the type integer. So here I've just written the block diagram, representation. Num is a variable which has got the value 123, and the address, assume that the address of this particular variable is 1000. Next, I am declaring a variable called as pointer. Now I'm creating a first pointer, int space star ptr1. Now I'm creating a first pointer. Now the ptr1 is a pointer which has got its own address, and it has got empty space. Nothing is been present in this particular pointer. It is not holding any value in this particular pointer. Second, int star ptr2 means Now I'm creating a second pointer which has got its own address, and this pointer is also, it's not holding any value. By default it is empty. Now coming to this particular line, when you see, observe this particular line, ptr1 is equals to address of num. Now I'm assigning the variable, this variable, the num's address to ptr1. What is num's address? Num variable address 1000. 1000 is assigned to first pointer. You can observe that ptr1 has got the address of the variable. You can see here address of the variable is 1000. 1000 is been stored in the first pointer. That is what the meaning of this. Second line, you can observe ptr2 is equals to address of ptr1. What is the address of ptr1? 3000. 3000 is stored in second pointer. So you can observe that ptr2 has got 3000 as the as 3000 is a value which is nothing but the address of the first pointer. Now how do we relate it? First pointer, as per the definition, first pointer holding the address of the variable, second pointer holding the address of the first pointer. This is called as pointers to pointers, or we call it as double pointers, we call it as. Now coming to the next line, now just before going to the next line, let us see this particular diagram. I'll be explaining with respect to this particular diagram. That is num is a variable, first pointer, second pointer. Now address of num is ampersand num. When I'm printing the address, of this, what is the address of this is 1000. 1000 will be printed on the monitor screen. Next, value of ptr1. What is the value present in this ptr1? The value, normally the value is the address. Address of whom? The address of the variable. So value of ptr1, when I'm printing the value of ptr1, it will print this value 1000. When I'm printing the value of ptr2, it will print this particular value. That is the address of ptr1. Now, coming to the next part, now when I'm printing the value of number, you know what is the value of the number. The value of the number is 123. 123 will be printed. Now, in case if you want to print the value of a variable with the help of first pointer, if I want to print this particular value, we know that first pointer is pointing to the address 1000. It is pointing to the address 1000. In this address 1000, 1, 2, 3 is being stored. So how do we print this? We will print value at address using pointer 1 is equals to %d star of ptr1, means at this particular address, this star is a special operator. Using with the help of the special operator, in this particular address, what value is present, that value will be printed. For example, ptr1 is got the value 1000. Now in that address 1000, what value is present? 123. 123 will be displayed on the monitor screen. Now, how do we print this 123 with the help of this second pointer? Now, the value at the address using ptr2 is, now when I use star ptr, now just check it out, first star of ptr2. When it comes to the first star, what is the happens? The meaning of first star is in 3000, what is the value present? That value it will be searching. For there are two stars. Please observe there are two stars. For first star, in this particular address, what is the value present? In this particular 3000, what is the value present? 1000. For one more star, in this particular address, what value is present? 123. So 123 will be printed out. In case if I use only one star here, rather than using two star, if I use one star, during that case, what happens? In this, one star if I use, it will print the value 1000, because in this particular address, this is the only value present. Since I've used two star, it will happen, it will search in this particular address what is the value present. Again, for one more star, in this particular value, what value is present, and it will be printing 123. This about pointers to pointers. Coming to the next talk, pointers to arrays. As we all know that when we declare an array, compiler will allocate the memory for the sufficient amount of memory for the array. And first address of the array will be assigned with a particular address. Continuous address will be allotted. Sequentially address will be allotted for the array. For example, when I write int of 5 is equals to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I am declared an array of the type integer and I'm assigning the value. Now, how the compiler will allocate the memory for this is, for example, it's just a structure I've written over here. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 are the values. And we know that array index starts with E of 0, E of 1, E of 2, E of 3, E of 4. And what type of an array it is? It is of integer type. If the compiler assigns the 1000 as the starting address, the next address will be, it will be incremented by 2 bytes, because integer is of 2 bytes. It will be 1002, it will be 1004, 1006. It will be incremented by 222 bytes. Okay, this is how the memory gets allocated for this particular array. Now, how do we use pointers with this particular array is the talk. Now, just check it out over here. just a sample example I've given over here. After declaring an array, I'm creating a pointer. What type of pointer I'm creating? I'm creating an integer pointer. Because why I'm creating an integer pointer? Because I want to point to the integer array I want to point. And I've written ptr is equals to a. I have written only the variable a. Now, when I write like this, the meaning of this is the starting address of the array. What is the starting address? 1000. This ptr will hold the starting address 1000. Okay, so the ptr is a pointer which is holding the address of the array, and the address of the array, the starting address is 1000, that will be stored in this ptr pointer. Now coming, let me explain with the program, example program. Now, in this particular example program, I have declared the variable array. I've used e of 5, and I is a variable, n is a variable, and a pointer. And again, what we do is, first of all, now you can see the array is an empty array, and the address, we have taken it as first index is at the address 1000. So 1002, because it is of integer, this array is of integer type. So by 2 bytes, we are incrementing by 2 bytes, 1004, 1006, and 1008. Now enter the number of elements. You are asking the user to enter the number of elements. Before that, before entering the elements, the second line, you can observe that ptr is equals to a. Now ptr is pointing to the starting address of the array. ptr is pointing to the starting address. Starting address is 1000. Okay. Now next thing is, you are asked, you will be asking to enter the number of elements. Now we have entered the number of elements is 5. So how many elements you'll be entering? You'll be entering 5 elements in the array. We already know that how the for loop works, and how do we enter the value inside the array? With the help of for loop. So once again, for I is equal to 0, 0 is less than 5, the condition is true. When the condition is true, I'll come inside the for loop. Here we are using scanf in order to store the first value, depending upon the I value. If initially the I value will be 0. So at the location of e of 0, I'm storing 5. You can observe that 5 gets updated here. Next, again, I gets incremented. I will become 1. Again, we are checking for the condition 1 less than 5. The condition is true. Again, we are coming inside. When we come inside, the next value I will be stored at the location e of 1. What is e of 1? You can observe I'm storing 15 over here. Next, again, I gets incremented. When I gets incremented, I will become 2. We are checking for the condition 2 less than 5. Yes, it is 2. Then we are storing the third element at the location of e of 2. E of 2, I'm storing the third value. Like this, I'll be looping 5 times. I have to loop. Next time, what happens? I gets incremented. I will become 3, and I'm checking for the condition 3 is less than 5. Yes, it is true. When the condition is true, I'm entering e of 3. That is 35 will be stored at this particular location. Again, I gets incremented. I will become 4. When I is 4, 4 is less than 5. The condition is true. Next, what I do is I'll enter the value at the location e of 4. E of 4, I'm entering the value, that is 45. 45 will be stored in this particular location. Now you can observe that when I value becomes 5, when I value becomes 5, 5 is less than 5, the condition becomes false, it will come out of the loop. So this is how we input the value inside the array, which has been already discussed in the previous sessions. Now, in order to access this particular value and print it on the monitor screen, in order to access the value which is stored in the array and print it on the monitor screen with the help of pointer, how do we do it? That is that happens by this particular code. This particular code will do that particular job. For example, here what happens, now the output of the array element is, the entire elements are. So what happens, the entire elements are, first what we do is, before printing, let me just check it out. Let me explain you guys. First, for I is equal to 0, 0 is less than n value is 5. Yes, 0 is less than 5. The condition is true. Printf %g star of ptr. We know that when I use the special operator star of ptr, in the sense ptr in this address, what value is present, that value will be fetched and printed on the monitor screen. Now, what is the ptr value is pointing to? It is holding the value 1000. Star of 1000. What is star of 1000? In this particular address, what is the value present? 5. 5 gets printed on the monitor screen. After 5 gets printing on the monitor screen, I am incrementing the pointer. When I'm incrementing this pointer will point to the next location. Since it is an integer pointer, it will point to the next location. Now the next location the pointer is pointing to is 1002. Now after incrementing the pointer, I'll increment I value. I value will become 1. Is 1 less than 1 less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. I'll come again inside and I'll print star of PTR. In this particular address, what value is present? 15. 15 will be printed on the monitor screen. Next, again, pointer will be incremented. When I increment the pointer, pointer will point to this particular thing. Again, I value will get incremented. Now, I value will become 2. When I value will become 2, what happens? It will come inside. 0 is less than 5. Yes, it will come inside. Star of PTR in the sense, in this particular address, what value is present? 25. 25 will be printed. Again, I'm incrementing the pointer. Pointer will be pointing to 1006 address. Next, again, increment the I value. I value, when I increment the I value and I check for the condition, 3 is less than 5, the condition is true, it will come inside the for loop. When we come inside the for loop, what we are doing is, in this particular address, what is the address? 1006. What is the value present? 35. 35 will be printed on the monitor screen. Again, pointer is incremented. Pointer is incremented to this particular location. Again, I gets incremented. I will become 4. 4 is less than 5. The condition is true. When it comes inside, in this particular address, what value is present? Address is 1008. The value is 45. 45 will be printed on the monitor screen, and pointer is incremented. Pointer, when pointer increments, it will go to 1010. The next address it will jump. When I gets incremented, I will become 5. 5 is less than 5. Condition becomes false. It will come out of the for loop. This is how we read the values present in the array with the help of pointer. So going to the next topic, the last topic, pointers to character array. This is similar to the previous topic, where instead of using an integer variable, I'm using a character array over here. Char of a, you can specify the size, or it's up to you guys, is equals to best. Best is the variable, best is the string which I'm using. Now, how this will be stored in the memory is, first B will be stored at first index, E will be stored, S will be stored, T will be stored. As we already know that string will end with a null value, so null value will be stored. So the address assigned for the character, assume that the starting address is 1000. Since it's a character, character will occupy how many bytes? It will occupy only 1 byte. So first address is 1000. So the next address will be incremented by 1 bytes, 1001, incremented by 1 by 1002, 1003, 1004. Now this is the start. This is what just a statement to show you that how the pointer is assigned with the address. So we have a character array. We are using a character array. So the pointer should also be a character type. And PTR is equals to A. Now A is nothing but the array starting address. What is the array starting address? 1000. 1000 is the array starting address which is being stored in the pointer, and the pointer is of the character type. Now, let us see the example for this. In order to see the example for this, here I'll be explaining the program of copying the string from one array to another array. How do we copy the string from one array to another array? With the help of pointer is the talk. Now, coming to the program starts with void main. The execution of the program always starts with void main. And we have declared a variable over here, which has been already initialized with the value as best. So you can see the just block diagram of this. BEST, B is a variable at the index of 0, E at a index of 1, and ending with a null value at the index of 4. And you can see the address. The assumption address is 1000. When the first address is 1000, next address will be 1001 because it is of character. Since it is of character type, it will be incremented by 1 bytes. So 1002, 1003, 1004. Now I'm using a variable I over here in order to traverse inside this array. Next, I'm pointer is equals to A. What I'm trying to do here is, again, now you can observe here the B is an array in this particular line. B is an array which is empty. We have not stored any value in the B array. And pointer, we have created a pointer which is of character type. And pointer is equals to A in the sense A starting address. This pointer points to the starting address. Now this pointer is pointing to 1000. Now 1000 is the address which is the starting address of the array, A array. Now what we are doing here is we are using this while loop. Why do we use this while loop is I have to traverse inside this particular array. When I traverse inside this particular array, the first value should be copied here. Second value should be copied into this B. Third value, unless until I reach the null value, I'll be copying the value to the B array. How do I do it? First of all, students initialize I value is equals to 0 over here, or by default I value will be taken as 0 over here. Now, while A of I initially when I value is 0, A of 0 not equal to null. What is A of 0? While A of 0 not equal to null, what is A of 0? A of 0 is B. We know that. B is not equal to null, the condition is true. When the condition is true, we are entering into the inner while loop, inside the while loop. When we are entering inside the while loop, you can observe here star of PTR. You know why do we use a special operator star? In this particular address, PTR is a variable which is holding the value 1000. Star of PTR in the sense, in this particular address, what value is present? B. B will be stored to, B will be assigned to the variable or an array B of 0. What is B of 0? So B of 0 is being assigned with the value B. B is assigned. Next, I increment I value. When I increment I value will become 1. I value will become 1, and I'm incrementing the pointer. When I increment the character pointer, the pointer will point to the next memory location. That next address is 1001. The pointer will point to the next address. Okay. Then what happens after incrementing the pointer? Again, I will loop back and I'll take A of I. What is I value? 1. E of 1. What is E of 1? E. E is not equal to null. Yes, E is not equal to null. When the condition is true, I'll come inside this and I'll assign star of PTR. In this particular address, what is the value present? E. E is assigned to B of 1. E is assigned to B of 1. So in place of B of 1, let me assign E and I'll increment I. I will become 2. Again, I'll increment the pointer. When I increment the pointer will point to 1002. Now again, the loop continues. When the loop continues, what happens? When I value is 2, A of 2, what is A of 2? We know A of 2 is S. S is not equal to null. Yes, it will come inside. Again, B of 2 is equals to star of PTR. In this particular address, what value is present? S. S will be stored in B of 2. In this particular location, S value will be stored. Again, I'm incrementing I value. I will become 3, and I'm incrementing the pointer. When I'm incrementing the pointer, it will be pointing to the next address. That is 1003 is the address. Again, what happens? The looping continues. When I value is 3, we are checking for the A of 3. A of 3 is T. T is not equal to null. Yes, it is true. Next, what we do is B of 3 is equals to star PTR. That is, in this particular address is T. T is stored in the array B of 3. T is stored. Again, I gets incremented. I will become 4, and we are incrementing the pointer. When I'm incrementing the pointer will point to the next address 1004. Again, while loop continues. When while loop continues, I value is 4. A of 4. What is A of 4? A of 4 is null. Null is not equal to null. The condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, we'll come out of the while loop. When we come out of the while loop, we know that the destination here, the A is the source array and B is the destination array. The destination array also should end with a null value. So what we do is B of I is equals to null value. What is the updated value of I? Updated value of I is 4. So after exiting from the while loop, we'll write B of 4 is equals to null. We are assigning 4 to this particular location. Then we are printing the name. The name is BEST. That value BEST will be printed on the monitor screen. This is about pointers to character array. Thank you.